Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I am a part-time reseller on Poshmark, and today I am back with another video on reasons why your listings aren't selling and what you can do to really improve those listings. So I make these videos every so often on my channel, and I think a lot of you really enjoy these because it gives you things that you can change in your closet. And so I made one about a month ago during Vlogmas, and I know a lot of people really liked that, so I'm gonna make another one now, and I'm basically just gonna cover some more things that I came across in my Poshmark feed. So I just kind of scroll through and click around on like different listings to see, you know, what people are doing in their listings, and basically what I look for is like red flags that I would avoid shopping from if I was trying to buy those items. So if I see something that like looks a little interesting or, you know, is just wrong overall, I will kind of point that out in these videos. So hopefully these are helpful for you, and if you want to see more of these videos, I have a whole playlist where I kind of cover all these different things. I've been doing this for a couple years now, and I think this is like a video that people really enjoy. So if you want to watch any of those, you can check out the whole playlist of those. But let's get started and really just go through some listings that I came across that really made my head spin a little bit. Okay, so this first one, I have to give them kudos because they did put the measurements in the pictures, so that is really great that they did that. However, the title and the description really need a lot of work. So the title is just basically saying it's a J. Crew skirt that is new with tag, and then the description kind of just says the same thing, and it just says the size, but it doesn't talk about what the color is, doesn't talk about what the pattern is, doesn't talk about what the length of the skirt is, whether it's a midi, mini, maxi, you know, anything like that. And it doesn't talk about like if it's a pencil skirt, if it's an A-line skirt, if it's, you know, whatever style it is. These are all things that are really helpful that people would want to know. This also looks like it's like a plaid tweed skirt, but like I don't really know, it's hard to tell. So definitely include those details because those are things that people want to know when they're purchasing. They don't just want to see a few pictures and, you know, go from there. They want to know all the details. So talk about if it has some stretch, because I don't think generally tweed does have stretch, but maybe it has a little bit of stretch to it, so definitely call that out. Talk about if it has a, you know, invisible zipper in the back or if it's a side zipper, things like that. Really make sure you talk about the details because this piece would sell faster. Because it is a brand new, beautiful piece, it would sell faster if it had these missing details. Okay, this next one is actually a pet peeve of mine, and whenever I am purchasing bags on Poshmark, I always see this, and it really drives me crazy. When I see a listing that the color of the bag is like a cream, off-white, beige color, but they list it as white and they tag it as white, because those are very different. If I'm looking for white, I want it to be white, not like beige or off-white or cream, and there's specifically a cream color that you can select. So don't be deceiving, and this one, it's clearly a beige color, and like when you look at the rest of the pictures, it's clearly beige, it's not white. So make sure that you are more clear about that, because I've gone to purchase a few times from someone and then found out that the bag was not actually white like it was tagged. And that is very misleading and will definitely prevent the item from selling. So make sure that you're more clear on what the actual color is. Don't call it white if it's not white. That is just very misleading to the buyer, and you're not going to sell the item if you do that. Okay, this next one is something that I kind of see quite often, and it really blows my mind how much I see it happen. But this next one, they called it a sequence top. See, it's even hard for me to say because I know how wrong it is, but they call it a sequence top, which basically means that they're saying that they go in an order in the top, because that's what the definition of sequence is. It's supposed to be sequin, which is, you know, the little bead-like things that are on a shirt or a blouse. So this one is supposed to be called a sequin top, but they called it a sequence top. So it's very different, and that's not going to come up in search if you are, you know, if someone's searching for that. So definitely make sure you're using the right version of the word. Otherwise, you're really preventing the item from coming up in search, and you're really hurting your SEO of the item. And going along with that, the other one I see a lot, and I came across it in this listing, is when you say cow neck instead of cowl neck. Very, very different things, and so you want to make sure that you're using the right version of the word. And so whenever I come across a listing that says cow neck, I'm always curious what that even means, because I don't know, I'm just picturing like a cow, and it just doesn't make sense. So make sure that you are not forgetting that L, because there's a very big difference between a cow neck and a cowl neck. So again, this is hurting the SEO of the item by spelling it incorrectly. Okay, so this next one is, there's a couple things that I would definitely change. One, the cover photo is, turn to the side. So I would definitely use that rotate button to really ensure that the item is facing upright in the cover photo. That's the most important thing. And second, doesn't really show clear pictures of how long the dress is. And in the description, it talks about how it's a short dress, but to me, it kind of looks like it would be longer, or it looks like it, isn't super short. So definitely make it more clear how long the dress is. Maybe even provide those measurements to really show like how long it is, because just because you call it short, it might be longer on somebody else, or it might be shorter on somebody else. So it's so important to really put measurements in a dress or anything like that, because you want to make sure that they know exactly what they're getting into. A lot of the times when I buy like a midi length dress, I know because I'm short, it's going to be a maxi on me. So other people probably have the same situations, whether they're shorter or taller. So make sure that you are showing clearly how long the piece is and putting those measurements in the photos for the item to sell the fastest. Okay, so this next one just calls it a floral bra top. It doesn't really specify anything. It doesn't specify if there's padding or what the colors are, or if it's spaghetti strap, or if it's, if it has like a bralette to it, or if it's just a top. It doesn't really talk about anything, and so I would definitely describe that in more detail. I would also describe if it has any kind of support or anything like that, or if it's just like a thin tank top. I would talk about how long it is, so I would definitely put measurements, talk about if it has adjustable straps, talk about if the material is stretchy. So many extra things to talk about, instead of just saying it looks cute under something. You want to definitely describe it better, and that will help the item sell faster. Alright, this next one, they just talk and say that it's pink joggers and what the size is. And they don't talk about the fact that the joggers are actually purple, and they don't talk about the style of them, and talk about how they're like a drawstring jogger or a fleece jogger, whatever they are. And they don't talk about the fact that it says pink written down the side. So just be more specific in the title, and again, this would help sell the item faster, because maybe someone's looking specifically for the color purple, and your listing is not going to come up unless you actually mention that they are purple. Okay, this next one was interesting to me because I was a little confused when I first saw it. I'm like, did they mean to do that? And then I realized that they didn't, because when you look at the later pictures, they're all proper. But the first picture is kind of like half the piece. It's like giving you a preview of what the piece looks like, and it's only showing half. It looks like it was cut off. It looks like when they were taking the photo and putting it like in that white background, they kind of like miscentered it, and so it's like kind of cut off. This just really doesn't look professional and kind of just screams carelessness. So definitely just center the item. It takes like 2 seconds to do, and it will definitely help the listing sell more, rather than something like this where it's a little bit weird and bizarre to someone that's shopping for it. And also, not to mention, to make sure there's more details in the title, because the details in the title are very minimal, and again, you want more details to make sure that the piece is going to sell faster. Okay, so this next one is interesting for 2 reasons. One, because they use the word copy in the title, which means that this item was relisted, so I'm giving them props for relisting the item, because I talk about how important that is in every video. But however, you do not want to leave the word copy in the title, because then that one shows how old the item is, because you're saying that the piece is copied, which means that it's been listed for longer than 60 days and it's not selling. So you kind of don't want to like advertise that, but also it just hurts the SEO of the item, because no one is typing into Google copy and then, the name of the piece. So you want to make sure that you get rid of that copy. So when you go to relist the item and you click copy listing, you want to kind of backspace on the word copy in your title and just make it the regular title of whatever it was. This will look way more professional. The second thing that's really important with this listing is the fact that the photos in the pictures, especially in the cover photo, looks a little bit blurry and doesn't really like do the item justice. And I feel like this would sell a lot faster and actually look a lot better if the photo was not blurry. So make sure that you take a more clear picture. Maybe you move the phone or something like that, but then also take, specific close-up shots. I also think for a piece like this, it might be helpful to include a video, because then you could really get all the details perfectly and really help the item sell faster. All right, this next listing is confusing because in the cover photo, there are 3 dresses that look very similar, and they're all kind of like at a weird angle, and they're kind of all far away. And so for me, I was confused what one they were actually selling, but it appears that they're selling the blue one, because if you look in the later photos, it's only the blue one. But however, there's the other 2 in the background that like kind of are confusing, because you think that you're getting 3. So if you're going to take a photo of, a piece on a hanger like this, including a hanger shot is totally fine. However, remove those other pieces from the background. Otherwise, it's just confusing and it's a little deceiving. somebody might actually think that they're getting all 3 pieces because they're all pretty much identical. So just take those off the hanger, put them somewhere else while you're doing that photograph, and the piece would sell a lot faster. You don't want to have any distractions or any other pieces in the background because that is confusing and could be very misleading to a buyer. Okay, so hopefully you found this video helpful and hopefully you learned something from these tips. And if you want to see another one of these videos, the reasons why your listings aren't selling, like I said, I have a whole playlist of them, but you could click either one of these two to get started on that. And if you want to just watch the whole playlist, go ahead. Each of them has different points and different topics that, are really helpful to learn from. So I really recommend checking them out if you haven't already. But until next time, I will see you then.